We've had some good ones on Thursday night over the course of this season so far. That's my favorite NFL game in a while for a bunch of different reasons. The back and forth was unbelievable.
Favorite NFL game? Just period, no modifiers? Like
Joe Flacco had like a 12-yard design keeper for a first down in this game. That is one of the dumbest NFL
with the game on the line.
With the game on the line. Here's my favorite. My wife came to sit with me at the end of the game, and Jamar Chase caught a pass on that final drive, and then he caught another one, and she goes, "Is that the same guy?" and that's what Steelers fans were saying.
Steelers fans nationwide, yeah.
Everything about this was so silly. I throughout the entire second half, I'm just sitting there like shaking my head, chuckling to myself because of how dumb all of this was. I really, really enjoyed that football game.
It was a good, like, silly, dumb football game. Like, Jamar Chase, she could have sat down next to you at any point in that game and had that response. He got targeted 23 times in this game. It's insane. Like, for him to do, like, him, and even T. Higgins had 10 targets, which is, like, a kind of a decent amount for any game. Like, those two guys getting 33 targets combined. That was the game plan, but to see it unfold that way was hilarious. Joe Flacco chucking it. Aaron Rodgers kind of turned back the clock a couple of times this game. Like, that's what Thursday night should be.
We had two 40-year-old quarterbacks in this game. Like,
81
so
attempts.
Many hilarious little wrinkles and details about this game specifically that it was hard not to thoroughly enjoy it.
T. Higgins catching 6 for 96 and a touchdown. And the very heads-up, smart brainiac play to set the Bengals up to kill all the clock, and not being like the best Bengals receiver on the field is phenomenal stuff.
It's so funny, and I tweeted this out during the game, but it almost came to fruition. We have Joe Flacco just wheeling and dealing this entire game and proving everyone right who was excited about this, by the way. The idea that the Bengals should do this because it at least gives Jamar Chase and T. Higgins a shot, which absolutely has been the case. And even with all of that, even with Jamar Chase having this monster day and the Bengals offense finally having life again and the Steelers defense being a complete mess, Derrik, I still felt like, oh, they're going to lose this game. Like, the Steelers are going to continue to go down and score very easily because of the state of the Bengals defense. I just assumed that's how this thing was going to end based on how easy it was for the Steelers offense the entire game. And it didn't happen, but it very nearly did happen. Joe Flacco lived the Joe Burrow experience very thoroughly for one night here.
But, like, it did happen, and the Bengals just had the ball last. Like, it did happen. Yes. Like, Aaron Rodgers has that play where he's rolling left and finds Pat Freiermuth down the seam, which, insane. The way that Geno Stone was playing the deep half there, he's like running off to the sideline trying to talk to a coach during that play or something. Like, he is so far over the top of DK Metcalf.
He did the same thing on the last Freiermuth touchdown. He did the same exact thing on both Freiermuth touchdowns. They're in cover 2. And it was 3rd and 18 on the first touchdown. It was 2nd and 20, I believe, on the huge second touchdown. The Steelers are just running 4 verts versus cover 2, and Geno Stone is playing like 5 yards away from the sideline, and Pat Freiermuth is wide open on both of those plays. The defenses did not cover themselves in glory tonight, which we can get into.
Yeah, neither of you sent us a message in Slack like 30 minutes into this game. You were like the Bengals 2nd and 3rd level. And then I felt like 45 minutes after that, I was thinking that to myself about the Steelers 2nd and 3rd level. Like, their linebackers did not play well. I felt like, especially the first like quarter and a half, maybe 2 quarters of the game, every single Bengals target was like just inside of the numbers, like right in that kind of hook area. Like, whether it's slants, dig routes, some seam routes, like that area of the field where your linebackers and safeties are playing, Joe Flacco knew where to find it.
Oh my God, dude. I mean, this is not high level analysis, but like, to the point about Robert's wife identifying what was going on with Chase, like, it felt like every route was the same thing. Like, I would believe you if you told me the Bengals were trotting out 3 concepts all night and just packaging them out of different looks. Just like, yeah, Jamar, run the 6-yard in cut. T, do the slant right past the linebacker's ear hole. Like, it looked incredibly repetitive, and it had to be frustrating to be part of if you're a Steelers fan, player, coach, all of the above.
At one point I said he has 16 catches, and she goes, today?
today.
Yeah, 60 catches
in the
today.
last 3 hours.
It's a small sample size. I don't want to get carried away. But I think a lot of people have taken pot shots at like, oh, what can you possibly hope to accomplish paying 2 receivers that much money? And the same thing of like, what's Joe Flacco really gonna do for you? Well, that I mean, it gives you a chance. It gives you a chance to deal with all of the other issues the Bengals have. I was laughing listening to you, Robert, where it's like, all right, Joe Flacco gives you the opportunity to try to solve the normal problems that you have, like a rough defense, instead of just what we saw against like Denver, where you're just not even a functioning NFL team. Like you're a functioning NFL team now.
I saw it. I said it in the moment. He puts the ball in the general vicinity of the very good players on your team. That's enough. That can be enough in moments like this. And so seeing him unlock might be a strong word, but get the Bengals offense back to a watchable place where the really good receiving talent ends up mattering. That's great. I think there's a conversation to be had about the current state of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense and the ongoing issues that seem to happen when they play against any offense with any level of competence. The last 2 games that they played against Carson Wentz and Dylan Gabriel. The game before that, the Patriots only score 14 points. They fumbled once inside the 5-yard line and throw another interception inside the 5-yard line. It was kind of why I was in wait and see mode with the Steelers, is that the offense, which we'll get to, I actually like the offense. I think it's pretty cool. I like some of the stuff that they're doing. The run game is going to look great against this Bengals team, but I do think the run game has some juice. You saw some of that against the Browns. We joked about it yesterday, Dave. I think some of the play action stuff is incepting Aaron Rodgers to attack areas of the field he might not otherwise. And you're going to have the go ball stuff with DK Metcalf. Throwing them to Darnell Washington, maybe we could take some issue with that. I also love during the broadcast that Darnell Washington is apparently Calvin Johnson now. It's like, well, what are you going to do? It's like, I think Kirk said, who are you going to put on him? And I said out loud, anybody.
Hey, whoa.
Outside on a vertical route, anybody.
What's more of an Arthur Smith sicko heat check, the go ball or the tunnel screen to Darnell Washington that
probably
lost
the tunnel
8
screen.
yards?
You can at least argue that you could pin it on him on a fade.
Or is it that in their 2 minute they're coming out in 13 again and just rolling these guys split out? I get that those are their best guys, but it's just hilarious.
I can't defend some of the structural choices. It's weird. There's no denying it's weird. With these players and Arthur Smith, it was going to be weird. But I actually think the offense has some life to it, has some juice to it. I think that they've done a good job of figuring out game plan specific stuff. What do we need to do to win this game offensively? That's been a consistent theme for the Steelers. The problem is, as they've iterated and kind of tried to grow on offense and found something that works for them, the same has not happened on defense, Derrik. I mean, you're sitting there in this game and you're getting a ton of man, you're getting a ton of cover 3. We're seeing a million different slants in one-on-one situations. We know where TJ Watt's going to be. We're going to chip him the entire day. If the ball is out in 2.5 seconds, which it was for most of this game, I'm trying to find the exact time where I had it. So when the Bengals went up 20-10 after that field goal to start the second half, at that point in the game, Joe Flacco's time to throw was 2.46 seconds. And that was right after that weird extended play outside of the pocket to the right in the red zone. On 19 of his 29 passes at that point in the game, he had thrown the ball in less than 2.5 seconds. There was a 20% pressure rate with this Steelers front against this Bengals offensive line. Those are issues that are way beyond talent. These are some of the same staleness concerns that have crept in about the Steelers defense over the last couple of years. And I think a lot of those came to light on national TV today against a quarterback that was traded to this team 10 days ago and was on the street 2 years ago.
Yeah, I just, we kind of talked about it obviously a little bit earlier this season, but the middle of their defense, I don't trust. Cam Hayward's still playing really, really well. And Keanu Benton has been better than he was in the first couple of weeks of the season, but this is still, I think their linebacker room is out of position, maybe more than any other linebacker room in the league right now. And that's both true, I think, against the run and against the pass. I mean, this Bengals run game, by the way, going into this week, had a 33% rushing success rate. The only team worse than them was Houston. Chase Brown had 108 yards in this game on 11 carries. To allow that to happen is crazy. And then, like I just said, 2 minutes ago, almost all of the Bengals' passes outside of just a few Chase go run a 10-yard out type of stuff. Almost everything else that they were hitting was like around that hook area or just under those safeties, being a little bit too late to drive. So like, I just feel like they are really struggling to piece together how they want to glue together the middle of the field. And I think they thought having Jalen Ramsey in the lineup was going to help them. I think he's played more tough games than good ones this season. And really, outside of Joey Porter, I just don't really trust their defensive backroom a whole lot.
Herb Street said something that made me think of the conversation we had. We talked about the Steelers defense after the Seahawks game, I think. And Herb Street pointed it out where it's like, should you consider changing your leverage? Because you're just you're just giving up the middle of the field. And again, like you saw it time and time again. Like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are obviously incredible players. Defending them is hard to do for even the best defenses in the league. But there wasn't a whole lot in the way of challenge a lot of the time on these many, many receptions that they had.
It's a frustrating place to be as a Steelers fan, is if you've kind of figured out the offense to an extent, right? You've gotten the offense to a place where it does have some potency to it, even if there are some quirks and probably some limitations because of how you're built. That coming at the same time where the defense is really struggling, that's a frustrating place to be. Like, all you've wanted for the last however many years is to get the offense back to a workable place. And the moment that you do, the defense actually starts a real decline in the regular season. Like we see in the end of the season most years. But the fact that, Derrik, now we're in the first half of the year and they're struggling to the degree that they are, it's a tough place to be if you've been watching this team over the last few years.
And that's kind of why I was willing to make the aggressive push earlier this year in the Take Tribunal of like, I just don't know if they're going to fix this thing. And again, it's not going to be as bad as it was the first 2 weeks, and it hasn't been since then. But again, to fix it to the degree that the Steelers can be, because now if this offense is going to be like a middle of the pack, which I think that they are, they still have some issues. They're kind of limited in what they can do. They're obviously super weird personnel wise, but like Rodgers has made 5 really good throws a game, and they've generally found a good way to get him to be efficient as a passer. And so if they can be that, if the defense was back to the 9th best in the league, that would be a team that could win a playoff game. With what the defense is doing now, I just don't think the offense is good enough for that.
Just for context, like the games they've won, they're 4-1 coming into this game. The game when they beat the Patriots, I just looked it up. The Patriots had a 53% dropback success rate in that game. Like, whenever they've played a quarterback that wasn't Dylan Gabriel or Carson Wentz, they've struggled. Like, that has happened in pretty much every single game. It's been Justin Fields, it's been Joe Flacco, and it was also Drake May. So I think this is absolutely something to keep an eye on in terms of, all right, even if the Steelers somehow win this shitty version of the AFC North, does it actually matter if they're going to be having these issues on defense, even if the offense has shown signs of life? We can hit that now because I think that is worth bringing up. Dave, this is a big night for you and the Ravens are not dead stance, because the Bengals being able to steal one here and make this maybe a tiny bit more interesting for Baltimore after the bye. This is a big data point in the Steelers and the Ravens somehow being able to claw their way back into this thing.
It's funny, though, because while I'm victory lapping about what this means for the Ravens, I just have to ignore the fact that I buried the Bengals today, where I was like, yeah, they're mock draft enthusiasts. Like, whatever.
I don't feel good about putting them one rung up in the tiers. Like, the only reason I did that is because it felt weird to put them with the Titans, but
it's one game. Like I said, I'm not going to overreact, but like 3-4 winning one game buys you 2 to 3 weeks of leeway, where now, like, if you're 3-4, so like the next time you lose, the hole's not that deep. Like, it's a little bit easier to imagine waiting, like hanging on for Joe Burrow after a game like this, especially if you like, I mean, if Flacco can do this like 3 or 4 more times against mediocre to bad teams, it's a little more plausible. I'm not ready to say it's going to happen, but if they lose this game, then I really am. I'm like pitching to Bengals fans like, hey, come find us on Building the Beast. We'll get you some DBs and some linebackers. It's going to be great. There's a lot of good There's a great linebacker at the University of Cincinnati named Jake Golday. Let me introduce you to him, like all that type of stuff. But now you can stave that off for at least a few more weeks. But to the point that makes me sound smarter, yeah, I mean, what? The Ravens will be 3 games back of the Steelers when Week 8 gets underway. And it all hinges on Lamar Jackson. But They've played one division game, the Ravens, which they've won. They beat Cleveland in week 2. So
they have 4 games against these teams by the end of the season. Like that, you could do a lot of damage in the standings if you get hot against these 2 teams.
If Lamar Jackson's healthy, it's gonna be tight. I'll just say that. Like, I'm not ready to bury the Ravens at all if he's healthy, which is, we'll see.
I have my concerns even at 3 and 4 about how much damage the Bengals are going to be able to do over the rest of the season. Like, I like the fact that Joe Flacco makes Jamar Chase and T. Higgins relevant. That's great. I do think the offense having signs of life is nice. The defense is so bad. It is so bad. And Trey Hendrickson not playing, I think that's what takes it over the edge. And we said it on the Hangover show this week, Derek. Like, I think there are guys who are playing at a high enough level where it's like, okay, this isn't totally embarrassing across the board. Like, DJ Turner's had a really nice season. They obviously had that pick today. I think that some of the interior guys against the run are okay. But for the most part, the second level tackling, the third level tackling, and watching them try to rush the passer today without Trey Hendrickson was embarrassing. Like, it was embarrassing. Rodgers being able to bounce around in the pocket and make plays outside of the pocket like it was 2011.
His first touchdown was so insane.
And watching BJ Hill like walk after him as he rolled out of the pocket, like, this defense would give me absolute nightmares. I'd wake up in a cold sweat if I had to rely on it in any way for my professional or personal happiness. The Steelers ended this game giving up a 17% pressure rate to the Bengals defensive line. And it felt like that the entire day. And so even if they're a little more fun on offense, I have some real questions and quibbles with the quality of this Bengals team overall.
And like, the defense only kind of got away with it in this game because they get 2 like kind of weird interceptions. The first, Aaron Rodgers, like, I think he saw the Bengals score and just like immediately was like, I got to go chuck a go ball. And he just immediately throws that one to DK Metcalf into 2 people, which was just a ridiculous decision. That just felt like Aaron Rodgers rebelling against the football for a minute. So that was a weird interception.
He's only doing like 4 things. Like,
yes,
they're working around the 4 things, but he's still only doing the 4 things.
Yes, they've gotten as good as they can at those 4 things, but every now and then it still goes wrong and you get throwing go ball into double coverage. So there was that pick. And then the one that he tries to throw on like a little bit of like a back shoulder, like kind of a short go ball where Geno Stone smokes, I think, DK Metcalf. And as that's happening, like, DJ Turner rips the ball out from DK Metcalf, which, like, I'm not even sure DJ Turner survived the ground when all of that happened. It was just like a very too silly interception. I'm fine with rule of cool. The NFL typically doesn't believe in it, unfortunately.
Yeah, they need that to happen in order to win this game. I mean, looking at it down to down, the Steelers finished with a 50% success rate. The Steelers finished with a 58% design run success rate in this game. And I do think the Steelers run game was showing signs of life. They ran the ball well against a very good Cleveland run defense. I think some of the things they're doing in the run game, they're unique. And I think some of the, like, we're pitching the ball to like have design counter runs. I think they're doing a really good job with some of these pullers. Like, the run game, I do think over the course of the season, I'm really curious where they can take it. But it looks really, really good when you are playing against this version of the Bengals.
I'm just gonna lean into the copium bit because it's more fun if Ravens and Bengals fans have a reason to believe. And all I want to say is that after this, the Bengals get the Jets, and then they get the Bears, both at home, and then they get the Steelers again. And like, if you don't even need to win all of those. Like, if you could find a way to win 2 of those games, now we're flirting with 500 as we get toward December. And now, like, and again, this all would hinge on Joe Burrow being able to come back at some point. But like, if you could get to like 5-5, then all of a sudden, like, you're like, we're into prime hanging on for dear life territory where you can at least entertain the dream of Joe Burrow coming back to a team with something to play for. I don't fully believe that, but I want to believe it. I'll just say that.
Just some numbers for context about how this night went for the Steelers. They averaged 7.3 yards per play. They had a 50% success rate. They went 7 of 10 on third down and lost the game. That's how bad the defense was.
That's insane.
That's tough.
Again,
against
it's just
Joe
a weird
Flacco,
place
like
to be.
purely in the gun. Like they didn't. It wasn't like a very cool balanced offense. They were just like, he's gonna go throw it.
He's throwing the ball in less than 2.5 seconds, and you're chipping TJ Watt enough. That was enough to slow down the Steelers defense. There were 29 combined missed tackles in this game between both teams per next gen stats. 29.
Oh, Derrick's eyes just bugged out of his head.
That is gross, dude. That is just not okay.
Let's bring it all around. This is why I enjoyed this game so much. There was so much stupidity happening in this game. It's why I had such a good time.
I want to, in the vein of that, I was telling Derrik this before we started recording. I know it was incomplete, but I had my wish fulfilled for like I just wanted to see Aaron Rodgers like tap into himself a few times this year, and getting a national TV game where he throws that ridiculous Hail Mary ball at the end. And I told Derrik it was like watching your favorite childhood movie for the first time in forever. Like you dust off the Fox and the Hound when you find it in the attic, and you flip it on and it still makes you just as emotional as when you were a kid. Like when he like bailed out of the pocket and rolled like he does when he throws those Hail Mary balls. And I just was transported back to like 2011, 2014. And I was just like, yeah, I love watching this guy throw the football. I don't have no comment on a lot of other things about Aaron Rodgers, but I freaking love watching this guy throw the football.
Other areas of these guys' games deteriorate over time, right? I think that Rodgers doesn't really want to get hit anymore. He's moving a lot better than he was last year. I was actually very impressed with his ability to extend plays today. It was compounded by the Bengals pass rush, but his ability to make plays outside of the pocket and move, that's better than it was last year. But the thing that sticks around for these guys, and we saw it with both of the 40-year-old quarterbacks today, they could sling the shit out of the ball still. Like the arm goes last. And I think that with what happened with Peyton Manning and Drew Brees, where Brees had the shoulder injury where his arm was like, just completely falling off his body by the time his career was over. And then Peyton Manning was like a corpse by the time that season ended. There are other guys who play deeper into their careers. Like they can still really, really throw. And like Tom Brady was like that. And so the arms stick around unless you have like some serious physical issue. It's everything else that starts to go. And I think tonight was a very good reminder of that. Aaron Rodgers threw that ball 70 yards in the air. That was the longest throw since 2017 per next gen stats. And then you saw what Flacco did. They can still sling the shit out of that pigskin, man.
And that was his final throw of 34 too. So that's after, it's after an active night. He's still throwing 101 in the 8th inning.
All right, that is all we've got for tonight after another very fun Thursday night football game. If you're watching this on Friday morning, our Week 7 preview should be available in your podcast feed. This will be available on YouTube around noon Central Time. Encourage you guys to check that out. Really fun preview show this week. Hit a lot of really fun games. Enjoyed that conversation. Think you guys will as well. For now, that is all we've got. Appreciate you listening. We'll talk to you soon.